Hello again. I'm going to be focusing this discussion on the nature of oppression. A human's primary motivation is self-interest and self-preservation. And this is not necessarily a bad thing because it's brought us to the place we're at now, for good, better, for worse. Uh, in the state of nature, we want to provide for our own self-interest and provide for our needs. In a primitive sense, this is shelter, food, and companionship. As much as I'm loath to admit it, humans do need companionship. So in the state of nature, the rule is that it's the war of all against all. There's a limited amount of resources, so competition is inevitable. And Hobbes describes this period as life is nasty, brutish, and short. It's a constant state of warfare. No one has a right to anything. Or his view is that everyone has the right to everything, which includes, the life of someone else. But conversely, this means that no one has the right to possess anything. And this differentiates from Locke's view, which is that we are born with rights, but we need this. The purpose of the state is to guarantee those rights. In the state of nature, they're not guaranteed, so we become civilized, quote unquote civilized, to guarantee the rights that are inherent to us, which I think is a false premise. I definitely agree with Hobbes on this one, that there is no morality. He says that morality is completely subjective. No matter who you ask about a certain situation, you're going to get somewhat of a different answer. So there is no there is no set moral standard. So in order to escape from this brutish state of nature, we enter into a social contract, which is essentially giving up our rights. We're giving up some of our rights in order for protection. And for Hobbes, and there are no right or wrong actions in a moral sense. The only wrong action is the breaking of a covenant, a breaking of a promise. So entering into this social contract, we are promising to abide by, some set of rules, or promising to submit to the will of a leader that we select. So in that sense, when we're breaking the law, we're not being punished because, we're acting incorrectly. We're being punished, or not because the action we took is an incorrect action. We're being punished because we have, we're not abiding by this set of rules that we have agreed to live by. Which is a better justification for, punishment for breaking the law, I feel, than just the fact that you're behaving in an immoral manner. So we enter into the social contract. The problem with that is, of course, is how do we decide, if it's a democracy, how collectively do we decide what actions are correct and incorrect? And if it's a monarchy, how can we extricate ourselves from this situation if the ruler we selected turns out to be a little too much acting in his own self-interest? Hobbes says that democracy can't work because the passions of men are commonly more potent than their reason, which is similar to a quote I said, or something I said last time, that humans, it's our emotional nature that causes us to act in an irrational way, which separates us from the animals, not our ability to be civilized, whatever that means. So he says democracy can't work because if we all collectively have to vote on issues, everyone is not going to be voting from the viewpoint of a member of society and working for society as a whole. They're going to be voting in their own self-interest. And this is going to create a power struggle. So we'll always create a power struggle and inefficiency. Which is true. That's the one thing that saves, us in America from living in a truly, tyrannical state, is the fact that the government is such a bumbling, just behemoth, that it's so inefficient that things take forever to get done. So for Hobbes, a monarchy is the best form of government because, and I can see his point, that it's the most efficient, but according to him, since we've entered into the social contract, if it turns out that our ruler is a despot, okay, sorry about that little freeze there, if it turns out that our ruler is a despot, we can't overthrow him because we have that would be breaking this contract that we've entered into, which is the only incorrect action that he sees. Sorry about that cut. Photo booth is just killing me today. I just real quick wanted to add on something else about Hobbes' vision of monarchies and why they're the best. His idea being that it's in the ruler's self-interest to have a prosperous society. And because if his nation is great, then it in turn makes him great. A couple of reasons, or a couple of examples why this doesn't always work out. First one is Peter the Great of Russia. He wanted to basically bring Russia out of the Dark Ages and did a lot of great things. Basically built their shipping from scratch. Advanced the scientific community, all sorts of things. But it was because of those good intentions and not in spite of them that he oppressed a lot of his own people. So even with good intentions and wanting to help your people, you can still be oppressive. And the other example is Stalin, of course, who was definitely acting in his own self-interest, and he wanted to make his nation great, which would in turn make him great, and in the course of it he blatantly and overtly terrorized his own people. So there's no guarantee that a single rule. I know it seems ludicrous to us now that a single ruler is even an option, a single autocratic ruler. But there it is. It's more efficient, and the trade-off of efficiency for democracy is if we can set down a good list of basic freedoms, we have a pretty good chance of guaranteeing them, because it's a monstrous task to try to change any of them. But all governments, I still believe all governments are inherently oppressive by their very nature. So until next time, when I have some more points on this, maybe I'll continue with that, or I could move on to religion. I know you're all excited about that, but for now it's a big question mark, and I'll just have to see you guys next time.